Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I have a surprise guest for you guys, Allie from Firewater
Hi,
Astrology.
everybody.
Yay! So this is my first collab on the channel, so I'm really excited for this. I have some questions for you guys.
It's a Q&A.
It's a Q&A. She also has a Q&A on her channel as well, so check it out when you can.
We collabed a Q&A on my channel. She'll leave the description
down below, yeah. So these questions are more so questions that I've gotten in person multiple times. So I kind of just wanted to openly share my thoughts on these topics like astrology, spirituality on this open platform, just so you guys get a better idea of like my thoughts on these topics and also Allie's thoughts. First question. What are your thoughts on squares in astrology?
Do I go first?
Yes.
Okay, so she did talk to me about, and helped me see it from a different point of view, where like squares are opportunity for growth. But personally, I don't like them. I don't like them in my own. I don't like them in synastry.
Why so, Allie?
Like, I don't like Moon Square Mars. Like, we're not going to get very far. In synastry specifically, I do not like squares. I can see how in like the natal chart, yeah, like there's conflict between two planets, and it can teach you a lot how to grow, just by knowing that there's a square there and knowing there's a rift between those energies, the planetary energies. But specifically in synastry, I don't like to see that, especially with like Moon Square Mars, Moon Square Pluto, Pluto Square Ascendant, or Pluto Square Venus. I don't really like to see those in astrology, especially Moon Square Mars, because it's like she can say something to me, and then the person that I'm in a relationship with and I have Moon Square Mars, they can say it the exact same way, but like, and in the exact same tone, in the exact, like, everything would be the exact same way, but something about how the way the like Moon Square Mars synastry person, it's just like one's gonna be too sensitive, and then one's gonna be not too sensitive, and then like it's flipped around, and it's a mirror.
Right.
So what are your thoughts?
So my thoughts on squares, I advocate for the squares, especially in a personal chart. If you guys watch my Mercury square Mars video that I made like a few years ago, I was saying how in that it's like your superpower, squares show like a point of like mastery, something that you're mastering, and something that is forcing you to grow. I like squares because they do challenge you. Squares in synastry, I like them. I know it can be like a little conflicting, cause a lot of issues, but how I see it, when there's squares and like oppositions, but we're mainly talking about squares, I just see it as like the person is like helping you grow and it's challenging you.
But
it kind of spices up the relationship too. You know what I'm saying? Give it a little difference, because you just don't want things to just be smooth sailing all the time. It's kind of boring. Everything's just going well. Okay, like, yeah.
Appreciate some smooth sailing.
It's like, okay, like, yeah, things are cool, but it's like, where's the spice? Where's like the opposition? How can I, why, I want like the energy to bounce off, and see like the stark differences, because why allows you to see things from different angles, like a square. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So,
but I also think it takes like a mature person, like I can look at my synastry chart and be like, oh, we have a square and this is the problem. But it's like that guy isn't like, has no like spiritual awakening, is still healing from his past, or hasn't healed at all, doesn't understand it. Then it's like we're not gonna get very far, So it takes like an emotionally mature person to like conquer those squares with you in synastry. 100%.
100%. Yeah. I feel like once guys get into astrology, like deep astrology, I feel like that's when the planet is officially healing. Like, if you could have a conversation with a guy and he's like, oh, like, I recognize that we have all these squares, like, let's fix this. We're ascending. We're getting somewhere, y'all. Like, are your experiences with astral travel? I'll go first. Okay, so my experience with astral travel, yo, like we tried to record this before and I talked about this, but I'm a bring the same energy again because I'm still fascinated by it. So one day or one week, it was like a couple months ago. So I was having like I pulled a muscle in my back, just very minor, nothing like extreme, but it was hurting like for like a couple weeks or so. And then I'm like, yo, like I just want this pain to go away. And I remember saying this like before going to sleep, so I guess I made that intention. And then I had this dream where I was in this city. I don't know what city it was, but it seemed like it was like the apocalypse because everybody was like in a like frenzy, like everybody was going crazy, getting food and water, like preparing for like the end times. So I'm like, what the fuck is
So
going on?
typical Tuesday.
Yeah. And then I also seen like this big water tower falling, so everybody was trying to like evacuate so they won't get smushed. So I don't know what that was about, but um, so I ended up going down this road and it kind of had like a hill, and then when I was running up the hill, I tripped, and then when I looked up, I seen like this beautiful dark goddess woman. She had like long locks and she had these intense, beautiful eyes and beautiful skin. And she was like, you know, come, let me show you something. I'm like, okay. And then she pulled out this worm. It was a big pink worm. I was just like, okay, whoa. At first, no, at first when she's like, "Oh, let me show you something," I felt myself get a little scared in the dream because I'm like, "Is she gonna shape shift in front of me? Like, is it gonna be like some Animorphs type of shit?" Like, but she just pulled out this worm out of like a hole in the ground and she just stuffed it up her yoni, and then she just started like doing this enchanting, seductive kind of dance, and I'm like, "Oh, like what's going on here?" And then she was like, "Oh, like you're quite masculine." And then, you know, how this came up was during that week, you know, I was like really reflecting on like balancing out my masculine and my feminine. So that did come up in my dream about, you know, her asking me that, and I was like, "Yeah, I do identify with more of like the masculine energy." So, and you know, during that time I was trying to like, you know, heal my feminine as well. So she just started doing this dance or whatever, and you know, I was like, yeah, you know, people have told me that I'm more masculine or whatever. And then when I woke up, like I just felt better. I felt better.
The pain was
The
gone.
pain was gone. And mind you, it was like a Pisces full moon around that time, so it's like dreams, healing, because you know, like the Pisces Virgo axis, you know, of like healing and doctors and stuff like that. So I went to a spiritual doctor, y'all. Can y'all believe it? Like that shit is crazy. Like I'm still in shock. I'm like, whoa, that was trippy. That was trippy. What about you, Allie?
Um, I've had a few like different experiences. I think the one that stood out to me the most was the one that I talked about in the previous video, and now this is like my fourth time telling you. And it's basically like we were on this like chip thing, like you know when you look at like a little computer chip or something, it looks like towns. Okay, right? It was like a or almost like a geode looking thing, but it was like it wasn't just like flat, right? So we were like on that like computerized like chip thing, and that was like our planet. And people were kind of getting divided into different areas of life. And I remember there was like a conveyor belt for like the down under, and that's where like the witches, the outcasts, like all of those people were. It wasn't like hell. It was just like this like alley,
It's like a
like
secret
this like
underground club.
yeah, like a secret alley. Like they were not allowed in like regular society. Regular society had already been ruined. Everything was like super super computerized, and I don't like that feeling because I don't like the feeling of being out of body. I don't like the feeling of like being disconnected from Earth, like that whole thing. That's like, yeah, like we do live in a matrix. Like I can't deny that, but it's like I don't like those feelings where it's like I feel like very disconnected, especially because I do think it's like my first time on Earth. Um, so it's very hard to feel like at home, at ease when I have like those moments. But in like the center of the tower thing, in the center of like the chip thing, there was a big giant tower, and like you basically had to prevent. It was like Divergent. You had to pretend to like
Good movie.
be sleep, bro. Like you had to pretend to be sleep. If you were woke, like you would, you're getting cut
You're done.
out.
You're
Yeah,
done.
and there was different levels too. Like you would ascend off that thing, and like my mission was basically to go and like get like this like device or this like disc or something and unplug it to make it like go back to normal. And it was just so weird. There wasn't any like celebrities, I would say. It was more like corporate people, government people, like um controlling this thing, and it was just weird. And I just remember being there and like having like to run and then like play fake and then like do what I gotta do because I couldn't get caught. And then like another thing we talked about was like I was in this astral realm, and I had been there multiple times, and it just kept showing me things that were like deja vu, deja vu. I've seen this before. I've seen this room. I've seen this whole thing. I've seen it all before, right? And that time around in that astral plane, it was like they were like the first level dimensional creatures or whatever. And I was like, I've seen this before, like all of this stuff. And they were shocked that I realized that they were tricking me, And it's like, then the question became is like, why are you trying to trick me? What are you trying to hide? So I kept like having to like, every time I get diverted, I had to keep like pulling myself back. And those jokesters were not happy about it. They didn't know what to do.
So there's like gate guards to the spiritual realm, basically.
Almost like it's like there's like this secret like knowledge or something, and it's like my soul wants to attain it, whether it be like the Akashic records or whatever it may be. I don't know, but I have a lot of things like that on the astral plane or dreams where it's like me like going after something, and it's like important and knowledge and stuff like that, and it's like being hidden.
Right, right. I have a question. So you feel like it's your first time here on
100%,
Earth?
yes.
Aw.
Like I don't necessarily relate to like any era of time. Don't get me wrong, I do like to travel. I do like different like cultures. I do like learning about different religion, spirituality, whatever it may be. But I just have always had this feeling of longing for home. And even I could be in my house and I just like know like I'm not home. And one time like I was like meditating and I was like, I just want to go home. I just want to see home. And I just like it was like dark and there was just like stars, and it's like I saw home and it was like just like a star,
Aw.
and I never felt like that comfort ever before. And I do like if I could go back in time, yeah, sure, like I'd probably go and watch Elvis Presley while he was alive. I love
Yes.
Elvis Presley. Um, or I would go and see Motley Crue. But I don't necessarily feel connected to any era on Earth, nor do I feel like I understand this. And I feel very disconnected sometimes, and I have a lot of out of body experiences. I don't like, and I'm always like longing for this like home, like to go back. I do believe that I had a different life, but I just don't believe it was here on Earth, which
Right,
is why
right.
I got into like spirituality at a young age, um, because I felt like that was what like I knew most of,
Right,
not
right, right.
necessarily how to navigate the material plane,
Right, right, right.
even though I'm an earth sign.
Right. That's the thing. I feel connected to the 70s, hence the afro. Hello. Um I would have loved to see Jimi Hendrix. I know he was like there in like the late 60s, but I think he was there in the early 70s. Quote me if I'm wrong, but love him. He's my favorite, but I kind of do feel like Ali too, to a certain degree. I like I feel like I'm an alien. Like I naturally just kind of just feel like I'm not of this earth. Like I don't belong here. Um, but yeah, like I do resonate with that era, but I feel like I feel like I've been in that era, so I feel like I've been here before. I feel like I'm like an old soul, but definitely I do. I also feel disconnected too. So
Yeah.
it's like kind of like a little bit of both. I don't feel too connected to here, and I'm an Earth sign too, so you would think like I'm like good here, but it's like half the time I'm like, yo, I just want to go back to the stars. Like, get the
Yeah.
fuck up out of here. Like I was like telling her, like
We were like, it's
yeah,
our last
it's our
time.
last fucking time. Like I'm not doing
I
this shit.
can't. I
Like this
cannot.
is too much. Earth is ghetto, y'all. Like especially in 2023, shit is ghetto.
Yeah,
Ugh,
and every day feels.
I need to get out of here. This is gross. Thoughts on religion. So your turn
I'm
first.
gonna keep it short and simple. I grew up in a Catholic private school my whole life, so kind of the Catholicism was ingrained in me. I never like necessarily felt that connection to it. I always felt a connection to God. My mom introduced me into spirituality at a young age with the whole Ouija thing, the whole card readings, the whole meditation. But my dad was actually very like atheist at the time, and then like as he got older, he got into like yoga and all this stuff. So he's more like new age spirituality. You know, everything happens for a reason. Yada yada yada. And then when I hit my teen years, I was still in a Catholic private school, and I had just discovered astrology. So I started challenging like every religion class, every like ethics teacher I had about like religion. You know, I was kind of just like that little prick that like wouldn't let the class just like vibe. Like I always had to say something. And now it took me a long time to reconnect with that form of like God, that traditional form of God. It took me like to hit like rock bottom in my life to like get me on my knees and be like, God, like help me, like you know what I mean. So as far as like a conformed, structured religion, I don't necessarily follow them. I believe that there's many truth that lies within all religions, and I also feel like there's a lot of lies that lie within all religions. And I think that like growing up Catholic in those Catholic school environments, it kind of like brainwashed me. So I do have that like Catholic guilt. Like if I lie, if I like cheat, if I steal like something, or like I will feel like very guilty, and that my soul will be like, oh, I'm going to hell.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
Yeah, and it's just like I have that
Religion.
like Catholic guilt. Like
Religion just took you through a whole whirlwind,
yeah.
huh?
So, and it took me a while to realize that creator, the universe, vibes, energy, God, they're all synonymous for the fact that um, there's a source, there's a creator, you know? And like how I was telling her about like the analogy of like God, the creator, right? So the person that made this book is outside of this book, right? It's not in the book. Just like the person that made the computer or TV or whatever phone you're watching it on, the creator of it, the God of it, is outside of it. It is not within the universe of that computer, of this book. So that means that God has to be like out, not in. But I don't know. I feel like the source kind of all around
Right,
sometimes.
right, right. My thoughts on religion. So I've been to church like as a kid. I've been to different churches, like Haitian churches, Spanish churches, white churches, whatever. Like I've been to it all basically. Not frequently. I think like they tried to like force it on me and be like, oh, you have to go every Sunday, try to get me into a little routine. And it's just like, I just wouldn't go. And the times that I would go, it's just like, I'm not even paying attention. I'm talking to all my friends in the church. Like, it's like, we're not even like really listening. So it's like, as far as like my thoughts on it, I didn't really truly connect to God until like I just started striking out on my own in life, going through things, struggling. depression and all these things. Like that's what really made me really have that connection. Also, like going through like an abusive relationship, I really feel like that's what really
That's what brought
triggered
me to my knees.
that really triggered the
I was
awakening.
like, I don't know how to break up with this guy. Like, please, like, God, like, get me out of it.
Exactly.
But I had that Saturn, and I was like, that Saturn moon aspect in our synergy chart, and I just felt like it was super karmic. It was super, like, I had to take
Hella karmic.
care of him. Like, he was just like, he put me in my masculine, and he was like a little boy, like a little puppy I had to train. Like, stop cheating on me, that's bad.
Paying bills. I'm
Like,
paying your phone bill. Wait a minute. And then you have the nerve to cheat on my phone bill? How does that make sense?
I swear to God.
Like, what? So, yeah,
Yeah.
like those kind of experiences, those traumatic, heartbreaking experiences, that really pushed me to have that connection to God, because that was my source of like true love. So being locked into a religion, it just feels very limiting to me. I feel like connecting to source itself, working on your faith and tapping into your intuition, those that's how you're really going to learn about God and really have higher self-awareness within yourself, is through kind of just going through experiences. It doesn't have to always be bad per se, even though the bad ones stick with you and that really like fixes you, like it really like makes you. But just going, just living life, just making mistakes, trying new things,
getting back up after you make your mistake.
And then you create your own religion as far as like your own spiritual practices, especially when you start getting into like candles and working with different spiritual knowledge and things. And that's what I would do. And then you just kind of establish your own little
that's how
your
I
own
work.
little Sunday. You know what I'm saying? And it don't even have to be Sunday. It could be any day. You feel like you need to tap into like your ancestors' God. So me, I'm very free spirited when it comes to religion. I do agree with Ali. There is truth in all of them, and I don't knock anybody for being in a religion.
Me neither.
Just don't force it on me.
Yeah.
But I'm open to learning and understanding you.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you're not gonna convert me, but
And I've had people try. I'm like,
that's never happened to me. I've never had someone try to convert me.
And they'll be like, let God heal you. Connect with God. Come to church.
Like,
here's the Bible. They give you like a little ass
the
Bible.
Mormons?
Yeah. No, like Jehovah Witnesses.
Oh,
and stuff.
Jehovah
like,
Witnesses.
You'll just walk, either they'll come to your house, or I've even had this like,
do you have time to talk about the Lord today?
Right. Yeah. And I'm like, and here's this little Bible. And it's like, how do you know what I believe? Like, how are you gonna no.
Yeah, but a lot of things about like Christianity, it's about like spreading the message of God. I just think that like the people that spread like the message of God, like spread it in such a derogatory way where it's not like peace, love, forgiveness.
It's not.
It's hate, it's differences, it's a strife, it's becoming into our politics. Like, there is no separation between church and state. Like,
it's all ruled by the government.
Yeah.
And then they're over here passing this back. Like, it's all to fund the system, the communities, and things. At least it's supposed to. But it really just goes back to the government.
Yeah, but
kind of like their whole system and things.
I 100% agree. Like, especially like with me feeling like voids throughout my life and trying to fill those voids, whether it be like through drug addiction that I went through, whether it be through like relationships, or food, or whatever it is. Like, I'm trying to fill this void, and nothing fills that void besides like my faith and the connection to like my higher self.
Exactly.
That's the only thing that like grounds me.
When shit hits the fan, that's really all you have is God.
And that's the only thing that can fill the void. Nothing else, which sucks because like it's hard.
You want to know what happened to me? Like, speaking of like people like spreading the word, and they're pretty like like, I think it was like Easter. Yeah, it was Easter. This guy, he was trying to like give me like a little Bible thing, like, hey, like, do you want to read the word of God? And I was like, oh, no, thank you. I was like doing my laundry, and I was like, no, thank you. And he's like, oh, that's not Christian.
How did he get in your house?
No, I was at the laundromat.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
And then he's like, "Oh, that's not Christian like of you." I'm like, "Who said I'm Christian anyways? Who
People
said I'm
assume.
Christian?" And he was so mad, y'all.
Yeah. I just feel like it's like let other people like believe what they want to believe. Let's not cause wars over it. Let's not discriminate against it. Like
Exactly.
if you believe in Jesus Christ, like was a prophet, or you believe that he's the Messiah, whether you believe whatever you believe in,
Go with
that's
what
fine.
resonates with you.
That's fine.
Right.
But there's no need to go to war over like religion. There's no need to tie it into politics. There's no need to like force it on someone else.
And that's kind of like the unfortunate thing about like the Bible and like the stories in the Bible. It's like because they mix that in, people get it confused. The Bible is just a book on literally the universe, spirit, like different scenarios that you experience in life as well. It has nothing to do.
It's like a guidance thing,
Exactly.
and it's been translated so many times that the original thing isn't really what it is anymore. You know.
Next question: favorite transits or worst transits, or both? Okay.
¿Por qué no los dos?
Who went first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll make mine quick. My favorite transits are definitely like Jupiter in my 8th house, which is why I started filming again. It connects me back to like source and like my life's purpose in a sense in that way. My least favorites are usually Mercury retrogrades. I don't necessarily enjoy those, and I don't necessarily enjoy Pluto retrogrades. I don't like. There's a lot to learn, but there's like a lot of destruction that has to come first, and everything like breaks down, and I don't really like that. Or Chiron transiting. Yeah, it teaches me a lot. That's the bittersweet one, where it teaches me a lot about myself and a lot about how to heal myself, especially depending on what house it's lighting up. But yeah, and my favorite is like definitely like the sun, like lighting up any of my houses because it illuminates things that I haven't seen. I definitely like when the sun's in my first house or in my 5th house or in my 9th house, things like that. Jupiter and this and sun like in my 5th, in my 1st, in my 8th, in my 9th, in my 10th. I really love that.
Got it. Nice, nice, nice. My favorite transits are any sun transits. I love that because it makes me feel revitalized. Like it makes me feel alive. I do love Jupiter transits, especially in the second house. Yo, like Jupiter in the second house, baby, that money is popping.
That money for me, it like when Jupiter transiting my second house, it's like how are we making money? And like avenues become more expansive.
I've found that Jupiter transiting my second house, it has allowed me to expand financially in so many ways, and ways that I wouldn't have ever thought or been able to see because you didn't really see that opportunity. You know, your mind wasn't open, and then it's like, dang, like I can make money this way, in that way, in this way. You know, transits to the 10th house are great for your career. I love those. I love 9th house transits because that's travel, that's, you know, learning something new. I've been having fun with the 3rd house transits. I do like those. It's good for like marketing, interacting with your community. I found like it's made me a lot more social. I've healed a lot of like those throat chakra issues that I used to have, so I love that. And another transit that I was telling her about is my reverse nodal return. So I made a video on that as well, the nodal transits and the reverse nodal return. So basically, it just made me uh, not only reconcile with like my past, but also I was able to really see myself very clearly, and it kind of low key gave like I guess like a kind of like a deja vu kind of feeling too, because it's like a lot of experiences that I experienced like in my early childhood, they came back during my reverse nodal return, but through like different people. It was kind of weird, and it was to help me reconcile with a lot of like my early education, and that doesn't mean only school, but kind of like what you learn from like your community and your family and how, you know, those kind of things. Um, and with the reverse nodal return, it helped me kind of understand a lot of my subconscious needs because I will always find myself saying like, "Oh, I want to do this. I need this." Da da da. And then it kind of showed me the why. Especially with it like transiting my third house. How I just wanted to like expand more and like try different things as far as like meet different people and kind of just engulf myself in different things than what I grew up in, getting away from like the gossip and things of that, the lower vibrations of that third
Yeah.
house. Um, so it helped me see that very clearly. And it also helped me kind of also reflect on past experiences that I kind of missed out on as far as like certain opportunities to really embody more of my North Node. It made me realize like how afraid of my North Node I was. And to be honest, having a Scorpio North Node, that is kind of scary. Especially when you're first getting into astrology. I'm like for me, like when I first figured out that I had a Scorpio North Node, I was like, oh my God, does that mean like I'm gonna like die or something? Like I'm gonna like you just going into the darkness, like the unknown,
I'm
and it
like,
could feel super scary. Being an Earth sign and having like an Earth South Node, it's like essentially you have to live life
yeah, I
on the
have the same
edge,
thing.
you know.
But I've never felt like any difficulties towards my North Node. My North Node's in Cancer. Believe in the 11th house. And I can definitely see how like Capricorn South Node being like in 5th house, like how I definitely may have like, and like I think like working on like my astrology videos is fun. Like I think working on like my website is fun. Working on the products that I'm developing and finding the charities to donate it to and making the labels, I think that's fun. Like, and I do have a tendency to isolate myself, and like for me, like fun is like work kind of related. And in this life I'm supposed to be more of like a humanitarian and more like family oriented and more friendship. But it's hard because like my friendships like kind of come and go. I have a few solid friends that have like stuck with me through life, but I'm a very family like orientated person. I'm definitely the one that like gets the family together for dinners. um I'll definitely plan like the baby shower for my sister. Like, I'm definitely like family orientated. I'm definitely like a little Cancer, like, like I have that heart. Um, but I guess I just like don't necessarily have a full understanding of my North Node and what I'm supposed to do with it in terms of that, because I don't feel any challenge towards it.
Do you have like a lot of aspects to your North Node?
Not
I I
necessarily.
have like a lot of opposition, so it does bring like that push and pull that I've like experienced all my life. So it always felt like semi challenging, and of course, like we all go through like our nodal return, like when we turn 18. So you kind of get like, that little bit of a taste of like what your North Node is like.
I got
So
arrested when I turned
so so yo, this girl is savage, bro. Like so
that definitely taught me a lot. Anyways,
I'm not gonna lie. When I turned 18, like I was being a little baddie too. I'm
yeah.
not gonna lie. I was being a
I
little
was running these
Scorpio North.
streets.
I was in the streets, baby.
I was in the
I was
streets.
in the streets.
I was out partying.
Right.
I was out.
Yeah.
And then
So
like that threw me in for a loop. So I
it
can
did.
see that. I can see
Um.
that. But it made
So
me stronger.
it did. It really did help me develop. Um. But I also found too like there are certain things that I should have done, but I maybe stayed in my South Node. With that Taurus, they want to be comfortable or they want to like kind of play it safe. Like I don't know. And when you're too much in your South Node, you kind of miss out on those opportunities for growth because that's essentially what your North Node is here to help you do, is to help you evolve into like a more higher version of yourself. So when you're in your South Node, it's like you're kind of like stuck and you're not evolving. So, the reverse nodal return, it does help with that. It helps you reconcile with your past and it makes you ready to take on your North Node because I did learn like once you're in your Saturn return and like kind of like after that you start to really full on take on your North Node like completely and you're less in your South Node. So I do like that transit.
Okay.
Mhm.
What's the next one?
The next one, oh, I didn't say my worst transits.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
went off on a tangent.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna make it real quick. Worst transits, any kind of Saturn transit,
Yeah.
Saturn.
Delays.
I got Saturn in my first house, so Saturn is always beating me up. The worst transit that I had was Saturn in the 12th house was very hard because it made me feel very isolated. I felt very stuck. I felt like I was unable to move forward, and I felt like I was forced to look at a lot of those inner demons that I had, which was very uncomfortable. And I just kind of
Where's
felt
Saturn now?
Saturn is in Pisces, so I just felt like I was like spiritually in prison. like I
No,
felt
I've
like
definitely been there
Saturn
before.
Saturn put me in like a little prison, and it's like you need to look at your subconscious, you need to clean this up, like, and it was until, and once you clean that up, then you can move forward. And that's when like Saturn goes into your first house and you're ready to like get out there and build and you know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
that was one of my worst transits. So the last question is any key tips on navigating your spiritual path? I have to say the most important thing is don't compare yourself to other people. It's not a competition. Everybody is having their own experience, everybody is learning their own thing, so you can't really compare that somebody's farther along or whatever to where you're at. It's everybody's soul is at a different level. I know that we all like intercept ourselves and we're here to like share and pass along knowledge, but don't compare yourself. It's not a competition. A lot of people, they get into their ego with the spirituality
Yeah.
sometimes, and they make it seem like, oh, I'm more ascended than you, I'm more farther along, I
That
know
definitely
more.
happened to me.
And I'm
Where like
just
that
like,
super ego like kicked in, and I
we
was
all
like, I
don't
know.
know something. You
Yeah.
like, the world is so vast, like there's something that you don't know. Even when you think you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something. So another tip that I would say is always know how to play both roles of the teacher and the student. Sometimes you're going to be the teacher, and sometimes you need to sit your ass down and shut the fuck up and be the student and learn something,
Yeah.
you know? And it takes a really wise person to do that. If you always think you're in teacher mode because you're in your ego and you want to be like all high up, and you're not
You're
even
eventually
open.
gonna crash.
Exactly. And it just shows like you're ignorant. Anyways,
Uh,
it just shows like you're ignorant because
it
it's like
takes a long time.
it does.
I think when my first like spiritual awakening was around age 14. I was one of those like ones that got hit early, and then like everyone started waking up, and then I grew a resentment towards like astrology and all that because like it felt like something that was like mine. I was like filming videos, and it felt like that close group of astrologers on YouTube, and then like astrology blew up,
I was afraid of that.
and I like my friend was like, "Oh, you can use this as a business opportunity." Like, and I was kind of more like, when like your favorite like underground band kind of like gets big and now their music sucks. Okay, that's exactly how I felt about astrology. Like, it was becoming so popular, and then the tune of the teachers that decided that they were spiritual healers now
Where the
was not good.
tarot readers?
Yeah, and
Who?
abusing
What
it.
are you reading? Have to like,
Yeah,
and it's like
and
you
they
really
abuse
have to
it.
be careful with these readers because it's just like people are just throwing cards in your face, and it's like, what are you tapping into?
And they'll abuse like the whole twin flame thing, the whole I hate
Divine masculine, divine
y'all need
feminine
to
thing.
watch like my twin flame
Oh
video
my
like
god.
on my channel because I go into like depth as to like why that happened. But I definitely think like if you're someone that gets spiritually awakened because of your like twin flame or something or a karmic relationship, majority of the time it's like not really your twin flame. Because if you're like spiraling out of control, like twin flames aren't abusive towards each other. They are not like necessarily mean. They're there to like reflect and like show like like I'm within you, you're within me. Like the union is all about understanding that like union within
it comes
yourself.
back to
It's
you.
all about the journey
So
of self. So it's like you're chasing this person, but really it's
it's you.
you. And it's like you need to sit back because then your energy of masculine to feminine kind of like changes. You're not gonna attract that person back. And another tip is like always find a way to reconnect with that higher version of yourself, your inner child, like give yourself time and patience. For me, I felt like I was definitely like thrown into it. Like I was just thrown into it, and I kind of spiraled a lot, and then like I learned a lot, and then it became like ego, and then it became like I want to teach it all within like 1 year. And then when astrology blew up like years later, I kind of felt like a resentment towards it because
You're not the only one. I felt like
yeah,
that other astrologers have said that too. Like, I'm scared when astrology blows up because
yeah,
it's just not going to be like this secret mystical
it's
thing
not like this
anymore.
little like club.
Yeah,
And don't get me wrong, it's like I used to want like everyone to know about astrology,
exactly.
but now that everybody kind of like knows about it, not so much in depth, but
They love and
they know
light it,
like their
you
big
know?
three now, like they kind of understand like certain things. I grew a little bit of a resentment, and that kind of stopped me from posting. That kind of stopped me from doing things because I was like, why is this person that like isn't really spreading the truth, isn't really like teaching astrology, like their videos are mainly like what it's the worst zodiac sign, and like they're blowing up. And I grew that resentment where it's like I put in so much hard work to like actually teach and like actually like try to get these people to evolve, and then like when it blew up, it's like the quality and the content of it like went
Watered down, for
yeah.
sure, for sure.
But definitely tips on navigating the spiritual journey. Find a way to reconnect to yourself through meditation. Find a form of meditation that's best. Um, Definitely try to reconnect with that inner child. Let that inner child out. Frolic in the yard, or do what you gotta do. Paint and
Right.
you
Another
know.
thing for me too is also like do your research. Even if it is a teacher that you wholeheartedly trust, like still do your research, meditate on things for yourself, ask questions, don't just take everything as truth. You
Mm-hmm.
know, this allows you to kind of develop your own mind and your own spirituality instead of just kind of just following people, and then you're kind of just getting lost because it's like they're guiding you into a direction that's not really for you
Yeah.
a lot of the time. Always, take what resonates and leave the rest is like the best tip I could give. And another tip I would give is just find balance. Find
Balance
balance is the
within
key
yourself.
to
Don't let like
life.
that. If like don't let that relationship drive you crazy. Don't just relax, like take a step back, like if that's the way that you found spirituality. Also,
Come up
I
for
always
air
say,
too.
yeah,
Some of us, we could, get like really like obsessed and in depth in our spirituality, and you forget to apply these things in your day to day.
and ask
And
the why.
ask the why. You
Like,
have to
why
apply.
am I doing this?
Exactly. And you have to apply yourself. You could, what's the point of learning all this knowledge if you're not going to use it to really improve your life or improve the lives of other people
Yeah.
around you? What's the point?
Yeah, I feel like at
So,
first when you like first start reading about astrology, you're so engrossed about like oh, finally someone can talk to me about me, you know? And it's just like reading up articles or watching videos, but it kind of felt like first it was like me like finally having someone like understand me,
right, right, right.
and then eventually it became like let me help other people understand themselves through
Exactly.
this tool,
Exactly.
because like there's no way to heal yourself other than confronting your shadow side. There's no such thing as someone healing you. You have to heal yourself, and you have to face that. Another thing I always say is like astrology is a pseudoscience. It's open to interpretation. So therefore, find the astrologer or the spiritualist or whoever it may be, the tarot reader. I 100% recommend Amber Khan, The Quietest Revolution. I recommend her channel. I recommend my channel.
Right,
I
right,
recommend Flight Boss. I
right.
recommend
Right, right,
like
right.
modern cosmic astrology. Uh, like find your teacher, because since astrology is a pseudoscience, it's open to interpretation. Nothing's set in stone except like the basics. And it's like navigate it through yourself.
You know,
question
there's
everything.
different ways to read energy.
Yeah.
There's not necessarily a wrong way. Like she was saying, there is a basis, but you know, as you evolve and you start to master it more, you start to see like energy is very flexible, very
Yeah.
multidimensional.
Because
So
like an earth sign is gonna view a fire sign a lot differently how they view a water sign. So that's why it's like subject and open to interpretation because
exactly.
like we have these experiences and we have these like perspectives with other people's and like when we aspect with their elements or their planets, whatever it be, we kind of set this basis. Okay, I get along with this kind of type of people. I get along with this, like,
Right, right.
so find your teacher, find your guider.
Exactly.
Nobody's right, nobody's wrong, and I definitely don't recommend going on people's channels and like hating on them.
Period.
Constructive criticism is always good, giving your input, but definitely let that ego kick back. That ego's gonna wanna like press on that gas the second that you think that you know everything, and then you're gonna get hit with a ton of bricks, and it's like
Right, right,
you don't,
right, right,
and you're
right.
back to like kind of like square one, and you learn more.
Exactly.
So it's a
That's the beauty of it.
process,
Yeah.
and there's multiple spiritual awakenings.
Exactly.
So
All
be
right.
patient with yourself.
Very patient. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't happen overnight. It's a step by step process, and just enjoy the process. That is all our questions. I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A with Ali from Firewater Astrology. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave it down below. Also, like, share, and subscribe to my channel, Ali's channel, and definitely check out her Q&A.
We have a Q&A on my channel, but they're different questions.
Exactly, yeah.
So, yeah.
So definitely check that out. If you guys are interested in a reading with me, you could find all my info in the description box. Ali does readings as well, so definitely check her out. She's really good. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Bye, guys.